crawled over to Jacob and found him staring at the blue sky. He blinked and I looked at his chest. There was a small amount of blood seeping out of his left pocket, and he groaned in pain. "Jacob, can you hear me?" "Get me out of here," he whispered. "Get the driver ready. I'm okay." "They have to look at you. You're hurt." "Do what I say. Go and get the driver. Glenn will help me." Glenn knelt down next to him and I ran for the car. The Reverend was standing frozen in his tracks, watching the tableau unfold. "Start the car and let's go," I said, jumping into the passenger seat. He looked at me with wide eyes and turned the key. We drove that big Lincoln around the circle and pulled up 6 feet from Glenn and Jacob. The paramedics were attending to Mary Ann, who was conveniently having a meltdown, and the police were trying to cuff her. They didn't notice us move Jacob to the back seat, with Glenn holding him up. We drove out the side gate before anyone realized we were gone. "The nearest hospital is about 20 minutes, sir," said the driver, trembling visibly as he entered the main road. "Take us to the plane," said Jacob, leaning against Glenn in the back seat, "as fast as you can." "Oh, no, sir, you need medical attention. I can't do that." "Do what he says, please," I replied. Jacob had a corner of Glenn's shirt pressed against his chest, and he looked very pale, but he was awake and alert and wanted to escape in the worst way. He handed me his BlackBerry. "Call the pilot. Tell him to be ready to go on the double. On the menu, look for Pilot 1. We turned onto the highway and picked up speed, retracking our route as I dialed the cockpit. I was surprisingly calm as I spoke to the pilot and conveyed Jacob's message. Glenn helped staunch the bleeding and persuaded Jacob to stay back on the seat. We arrived at the airfield and drove right onto the tarmac and up to the ramp. Moss and the pilot helped Jacob up the stairs and onto the bedroom. Moss went to work on him while we prepared for takeoff. "That was pretty heroic, Glenn," I said, taking his hand as the jet taxied down the runway. "Pure luck. My old Air Force training. God, I hope he's okay. It's hard to tell where the bullet went." "We're 40 minutes from Monterey. He can make it. They'll have an ambulance waiting for us." "Aren't you worried?" "Yeah, I'm very worried. But he's Jacob Walnut. He's not going to die."